Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm going to give a little shout out to another channel because I have never heard of these falls before, and I saw another photographer that I follow came to these falls just a couple of days ago, and I immediately thought I've got to have some of that. So shout out to Les McLuckie. I'll leave a link to his channel below. He was here a few days ago. What a great find at Dalcairney Falls down in Ayrshire, and let me show you this. So as well as those falls, it looks like we have some lower falls just down there as well. So I'm going to explore both. As I say, I've never been here before, so this is entirely new to me, and it's just a matter of trying to find the occasional viewpoint. I like that. You've got that branch from that tree in the foreground framing the waterfall. I think I like that view, and we've got just a light drizzle at the moment, and that's kind of muting the colours a bit, and it's overcast and grey, so that's going to help with the long exposure aspect. What a beautiful find. Right, I'm going to set up because I think this might well be my first shot. Right, I'll just start by getting the camera out. Oh, what's this? Oh look, John McKenna photography, waterfalls, 2026. Looks great though, doesn't it? I'd say if you liked waterfalls, that'd be a great thing to buy. There's a link in the description below. Okay, right, let me talk you through my first problem. I've got the 24-105mm lens on, and it's pretty much giving this viewpoint, but I want to go a little wider and include that overhanging branch. I could tilt the camera up, but then that's going to include a slightly more sky as well, and I don't really want to lose the base of the fall. So my only real option is either to go further back, but then that's got another problem which I'll explain in a second, or stay where I am but go wider. And I think my option is going to be to go wider. I mentioned that I can't go back any. The reason for that is I'm right at the side of the path, and if I go any further back I run the risk of including the path in the image, and I don't particularly want to do that. So I do want to include the base of the falls, the spray that's rising up from the water. I do want to include that. I want to include that cascade, obviously. I love these rocks, the colour and the muted greens and yellows and oranges in the rocks, but I definitely want to use that foreground tree as a framing tool, and I think my only option is to go wide and bring in the 16-35mm lens, and probably go very close to 16mm. So I'm going to change lenses and I'll come back to you in a second. Right, another problem has presented itself. I've switched over to the 16-35mm lens, right, and that is giving me the wide field of view that I wanted, but because of where I am, in order to include that overhanging branch that I was after, I have to tilt the camera up. And that's meaning I'm accidentally including the sky that I wanted to exclude anyway. So what I'm going to do is, I know I said I didn't want to, but I'm going to take a step back, a couple of steps back, try and recompose the shot so that I still have all those elements, but I've got less sky, because that is going to burn out. I just know that's going to burn out, and I don't want to have to faff about with exposure bracketing and all that sort of stuff. If I can, I'd rather get it in one shot. So yeah, I'm going to take a step back. Actually, it might work. Let me just show you this. It might actually work to my benefit by stepping back as well anyway, because this branch here, which is what I wanted to have included, actually drops down again here. So if I get further back, I might actually be able to use it as a complete frame entirely over the fall. I still want to include the trunk of the tree, but if I can include that entire arc of that branch and then have the waterfall framed by that, then I think that actually might be a slightly better composition than the one I originally had in mind. I still haven't actually taken this shot yet, but yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Right, I've taken that shot at roughly 16mm, there it is in the back of the camera. I did manage to get it in one exposure, but you'll see from the screen there that I didn't get to include this end of the branch. And the reason for that was I really had to start pointing the camera up the way and look at all this bright sky we've got in the background. So I decided that that wasn't a good move, and just went with the composition that you can see there. I might try a vertical composition a little bit further out towards the edge there, and try vertical to see if I can make more of the waterfall and include more of that tree, because I do like that tree. I think that really just adds to the vibe that we've got at the moment. I'm going to concentrate on this and see if I can take a vertical shot here as well. Okay, I've taken a vertical shot. I've gone wider than I need to, and that's so that I can crop it in, because I see this being a 5x4 or possibly even a square crop rather than a full 3x2 or whatever. So what I've done is I've given myself a little bit of breathing space here. As you can see, I've included a bit of sky beyond and a bit of the foreground, this stuff down here. I've included that. And my thinking is I'll be able to crop that in a little tighter so that the waterfall's larger in the frame, but I still include those essential elements that I was after, which was the beautiful greens, the reds and oranges and the rocks, foreground tree, overhanging branch, all that sort of stuff. I like that. What I'll probably do now is ignore that foreground tree. That's all I've been concentrating on at the moment. So I might ignore that, go right to the edge and get a tighter shot of just the waterfall, so maybe something like that. Include those fallen leaves up there, that beautiful orange and yellow colour. Try and make some more of the rocks here, which are kind of variously pointing towards the waterfall. And that overhanging foliage here. And we'll see if there's a tighter composition. The problem with doing it this way is you don't really have an awful lot in terms of foreground, unless I can find an angle which allows me to make something of these ferns down here and these foreground rocks. That might be the only thing that saves it in terms of a foreground. I'll be back to you in a second. Really like these rocks here, and I want to try and make something of them, and then we're going to move on, I think. Right, I've gone in a little tighter again. I've got the 20-40-105mm lens on. We're up about 90mm, something like that, and that's allowed me to really exclude the sky completely. I'm also excluding that tree in the far end that I really liked, so I no longer have this tree and the shot is pretty much, let me just zoom in, it's pretty much that, something like that. So as you can see, that's allowed me to exclude the sky, so that's helping with the exposure. I also like the fact we've got little patches of green here, here, here and here. That kind of symmetry I think helps. You've got the rock here, which I really liked, and obviously you've still got the water as well. So I really like that. There it is in the back of the camera, and I kind of like that. I like the symmetry of those greens. Again, almost kind of framing the waterfall. You've got the beautiful rock formations on the far end, and yeah, I like that. I think that's quite a nice shot. So I'm going to move on now, and I think originally I said I was going to go down and see if there's another view, but it's just dawned on me that there's actually another tree behind the one that I was shooting, this one here, and I don't know if there's a view where I could use that one as the foreground and shoot. You'd be shooting more kind of in line with the waterfall, if you see what I mean, but that again would allow you to do the contrast of the falling water and these red rocks with the green moss and lichen on the other side. So I'm going to go up there and see if there's a shot there first before I head down the way and look for another viewpoint down there. These falls are absolutely beautiful. Actually, do you know what? I like that shot. See if I can shoot that, exclude the path. The path's just there. So if I can exclude the path and just shoot that with both trees, I like that and all. I think that's quite a nice shot. Yeah, I might grab this and then I'll move up to that tree. Right, what do you make of that composition? I'm basically using that second tree, the one that I like there, this one here, and I'm using the foliage down below, as you can see here, to frame the waterfall. I'm being careful to make sure the base of the waterfall is above the top of the foliage, so you've got a bit of space there, because you don't want them kind of overlapping, you don't want them merging. So as you can see from here, you've got that. If you go down too low, then they begin to merge. If you go up too high, then you separate them a little bit more. I quite like that. I think that's a nice shot. In fact, if anything, I think this tree here might actually be slightly more photogenic than that one. No offence to the tree, obviously. But yeah, I like that. There is another gap just there, which is more in line with the waterfall, so I'm going to go there and see if there's another shot there. But yeah, as an alternative, I like this. I think this is a nice shot. I've framed it up something like that. I've lost that tree up here. I've done that deliberately. So I've aimed down. We've got the base of this tree. We've got all this foliage here, which is kind of sweeping down. I'm including this little bit of foliage here, the waterfall, the pool, the rocks down there, all that. And the composition is pretty much something like that. And I like that. I think that's a nice shot. Right, let's see what there is at the next gap up. No, I'm going to say no here. Wonder if you can guess why I'm saying no. Two reasons really. The foreground is way too cluttered. Although you've got this foliage here which is kind of framing the waterfall, it just seems too cluttered to me. Now I could change that by either throwing it out of focus or by underexposing it and making it less relevant to the shot. But the second thing, and it's the killer for me, is you can't see the base of the fall. I always think you need to include the base of a waterfall to give it that dramatic impact where it hits the pool below, and you can't really see it. It's obscured somewhat by this foreground tree. So for me, that's a no-go. It's the combination of being too cluttered and having to work around that, but also not getting what I like from a waterfall shot, means that I'm going to move on from here and not take a shot. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to head down, get closer to the pool level and see if there's any other shots down there. Oh, I'm loving this. Look at this. So you've got the fall that I was shooting there, that pool with all those rocks, and then you've got this secondary fall in the foreground. I might be able to get a little bit closer so that we can make more of that, because what I really like is this foreground. If I go back the way, you can see that foreground tree is actually framed by these two trees, and yeah, I like that. Probably a vertical shot because there's an awful lot going on here that I'm not really interested in, and similarly down there there's quite a lot of distraction. So I might frame up a vertical shot, something like that, where I kind of cut off about here and about here and just shoot that. I like that. I've actually just given myself second thoughts here because while I like that arrangement of the V, I really like this mossy mound here and these two trees on the far side. I think they add probably slightly more, and I really like the way that the branches from this tree are kind of pointing, leading the eye in to the waterfall. So I'm going to take the shot with the V trees, just for record, just for reference, but I don't think that's actually the best shot. I think the better shot is to get very close to this foreground tree and then something like that, and make the most of these trees on the far side. Two more shots coming up, I think. Right, I've come a little bit further down, and if I'm honest with you, I thought I'd lost the waterfalls because you can't see either now, but there is a clue that there might be a shot here. See if you can spot it. There are a lot of footsteps and footprints here, which makes me think that there's a reason to go down that way. So let's go. Okay, yeah, it leads to a little rocky outcrop, which gives you another viewpoint on that lower fall. I was shooting the two falls together from just up here, so just to put it into context, so I'm now down slightly higher than the bottom of the lower fall. We've completely lost the upper fall, so you would never even know that was there now. But I'm going to take this shot because quite like this curved rock face here, the way the waterfall tumbles in, we're slightly losing the edge of the bottom, so that's a problem for me, but I'm going to have to tolerate that because I like this overhang. I think again that frames the shot. And I'm wondering, because I do like along this wall here, we've got some beautiful textures and colours and lichen and mosses and ferns and all the way along the ridge of the edge of that rock face. So I'm wondering if I can go slightly further out. There's not an awful lot of scope to go too far, but if I can go slightly further out, I might be able to have a shot here where I'm sweeping the eye round. We're including this little tree that's grown out of the rock face, the overhang, and then the waterfall. And I think compositionally that works. And hopefully if I go slightly further out, I might actually even be able to clear the lip of this little ridge here, and so we would see the base of the falls. This is absolutely beautiful, and I know I'm always saying it, but I've got the entire place to myself. It's probably a good job because there's only about space for 3 or 4 cars up there, but even still, I haven't seen another soul. Right, I'm going to move, take this shot. I'll be back with you in a second. As I was standing over there on that rock, I thought there might have been a shot where I used this fallen log here in the foreground as a kind of framing tool, or at the very least as a foreground element. But again, it's a bit too cluttered, isn't it? And again, we lose the base of the waterfall. So perhaps not. At least not today. Right, let's move on. So yeah, that was a lovely spot. I'm going to move further up again, work my way back up to the top and see if there is a way over to the other side. Some of the things on the trees just now are absolutely gorgeous, and you've got your beautiful colours, and I'll leave a link in the description. Right. Oh, that calendar's gone. That's a worry because it's limited edition, and when they're gone, they're gone. Right, well, I'm at the other side. It's just a matter now of seeing if there is a path. There is an obvious path there running alongside that fence, but that seems to stop fairly abruptly. So I'm hoping when I get there, there is another obvious way down. Still not found a way down to the water's edge, but I found this nice view where you've got the old bridge there, the waterfall coming down from under it and then dropping down into the abyss. Unfortunately you can't see the base of the fall, but I think if I exclude that foreground tree and shoot something like that, then it's a nice little image, isn't it? Also, we're shooting down the way, so we don't have to worry about the sky or exposure or that sort of thing. Yeah, maybe grab this shot, if nothing more than a reference shot, so I know it's here. There is a way down, but that looks very, very ropey. And given that I'm here on my own and nobody knows where I am, I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, that's a shame. It does look like it gets down onto that ledge down there, but your problem afterwards is how you get back up. If you get back up. I think I'd probably try that if I had somebody with me, you know, just for safety reasons. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to call that it for this location, I think. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give us a little thumbs up and a like. If you like this particular style of video where I talk you through all my thought processes, be sure to hit subscribe because I've got a lot more planned in this kind of style. And if you want to have a look at Les's channel, I'll leave a link below. And if you want to place an order for the calendar, there's a link below. There really was a limited edition calendar though. There was 100 printed and I think we've got maybe 45 left or something like that. So if you want one, get one soon, because when they're gone there won't be any reprints and all that. That's it for the year. So in the meantime, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.